it's Allison, and today on Thinking Outside the Box, I'm going to show you how I created these one-of-a-kind, I like to call tie-dyed pendants and earrings. And it's actually a very simple process, and you can use whatever clay you have on hand and whatever cutters you have on hand, and that is all that you'll need. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up with supplies and I'll be back. All right, so what you're going to need for this particular project is some white Primo Sculpey, some black Primo Sculpey, and in one of the earrings and pendants, I used turquoise Primo, wisteria Primo, and periwinkle Primo. And in the others, the orange, the pink, and the yellow, I mixed up my own colors. And what I did was I took white Primo and I added alcohol inks until I achieved the color that I wanted. You're gonna want cutters of your choice. In this particular project, I used the pylon cutter set from RJ Crafts. And I also used the earring and pendant open cutters, open middle cutters from RJ Crafts, and I will have links in the description below this video if you're interested in purchasing those. You're going to need a couple of tiles to work on, and I like to use the 6x6 tiles that you can pick up at your hardware store. They're the bathroom wall tiles. You're going to want a roller. You're going to want a blade to cut your clay, and I use this ruler because I need the thickness of the edge of it. I didn't have anything sturdy enough on hand, and this worked perfectly. So it's about 1 millimeter thick, and that's what I used. I could have used my blade, but it's very thin on the edge, and this just worked out better. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up and we will get started. I'll be back. All right, the first thing that we are going to do is make a Skinner blend. And how you want your colors placed is entirely up to you. So I'm going to put the orange on the outside, the yellow on the outside, and the pink on the inside. And all I'm going to do is cut one part here, another here on the yellow, place that there, and then cut a part on the orange, place that there. And this is a very primitive way of making a Skinner blend. This doesn't have to be a completely perfect Skinner blend. So those of you out there that are going, whoa, what is she doing? This is how I do it for this particular project. So now I want to even up the top and the bottom, and of course it's going to move on me. My pieces off to the side and even up the top. Put those off to the side. And now we have a sheet that we are going to put together and run through our pasta machine to create a Skinner blend. I'm going to do that off camera, but I'll tell you, I am going to start at a 4 and blend this out, and then I take it up to a 5 and blend it out a couple more times. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and what I do is I run it through this way, like that, one time, and then I'm gonna fold it over. And you know what? I'll just do it real quick. I'm gonna run it through one time on a 4. All right, so I have one time on a 4, and then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna fold it over, and I'm gonna run it fold side down, this fold side down, on a number 4 until I get the desired Skinner blend that I want. And I'll be back to show you. I ran this through my pasta machine 20 times. And this is the blend that I got. I had used black earlier and didn't clean my blades, so, but that's not gonna hurt anything. A little bit got on the yellow and the orange. So that's 20 times of running it through. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it over again. And that was on a number 4. So now I am going to run this through my pasta machine this way, long way. And I'm gonna run that on a number 5. So I'm changing my setting to a number 5. And now I have this long piece. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need to determine what color do I want in the middle. Do I want the yellow to be in the middle, or do I want the orange? And I think I'm going to go with yellow in the middle. So what we're going to do, and let me zoom out a little, is we're going to take this and we're going to roll it. And it's okay if you have that edge there. You want to start tight, so kind of push it down. And you're just going to roll this up. And as you're rolling, you're trying not to get any air. So you're kind of pushing down on it. And I like to kind of push the ends in a little. And you just keep rolling, push the ends in a little. I'm trying to keep as little air in there as we can. So we're creating like a plug, but we're going to use it differently. So you just keep rolling until you get to the end. And now you have something that looks like this. And I'm just going to kind of smush down on it and pushing in while I'm smushing down, because I want to try and get as much air out of there as I can. And I don't need this to be super big, but I do want to try and get as much air out as possible. And if things aren't centered, that's fine. We're not looking for perfection in this. This is going to be something that just kind of happens, because you really can't duplicate the same exact thing every time with this. So now I'm just going to take this and put it down on a tile. And let me zoom in a little more. I am just going to push down with my hand on both sides, still trying to get out any air that might be left. And I mean, you don't need to make this round. You can also make it square. I just like to keep it round. And that looks pretty good. I think we got most of the air out. So you're going to end up with a piece that is about a 1/2 inch thick. So go ahead and put that down on your tile. And now I'm going to use black on this one as a contrasting color. On the other, the turquoise, the wisteria, and the periwinkle, I used white as a contrasting color. So I'm going to get out some of my black. And you need to condition this pretty good. And you don't need a really big piece, just a small one. So about that big. And we're going to cut 2 circles out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and condition this and I'll be back. A piece that I rolled out to a number 7 on my pasta machine. And a number 7 is the 3rd thinnest setting on my machine. So now I want to cut a circle, and that's about the size of my plug. So I'm going to cut 2 of those. And I might not get 2 out of that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, and you don't need a cutter to do it. You can just do it by hand. So I'll put one of these off to the side. And what you're going to do is you're going to place this circle on top of your plug. And I'm going to move this other one off to the side. And now we get to play. Now is where I take, let me make sure this is centered. I take my ruler and I am going to cut all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And squish that back together. And this process takes a little while, but the results are pretty cool. And you just want to kind of push that back together and get your circle shape or your square shape back in form. Then I like to take a roller and just kind of roll over it a little, pick it up, squish it back in shape. You want those pieces, since you cut all the way through, you want those to form back together. All right. Now we're going to take it, and you can kind of still see the lines. I'm going to cut in the middle of those. And push it all back together. This is really a form of Mokume Gane, but we're going to be taking slices from this rather than, well, I mean, I guess you do take slices in Mokume Gane. This is just kind of a different way of doing it, but it's basically the same concept. So you want to push that together good. Make sure those form. Use your roller if you have to. You don't want to roll it too thin though. And now what we're going to do is take it the opposite of the original lines, where we have them going horizontal, and now we're going to have them going vertically. And or you could even off center it too if you want. Doesn't matter, but you want to go in a different direction from what you originally went in. So now I am going to take it and we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to make slices all the way through. And push it together. So those pieces go back together. It's key that you get those pieces to stick again. Otherwise, when you go to cut it, it's just going to fall apart. So you really want to make sure that you've got those stuck again. And take the roller. You're going to have to fiddle with it just a little to make sure that they're stuck back together. Take the roller again. And now we're going to go in between those lines again. So where we didn't cut, we're now going to cut. And smush it. And push it back together. Take the roller. Really making sure that you get them together. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to take this and we are going to flip it over. And you want to do the same exact thing to the other side. And I'm going to pull this circle just a little bit bigger, especially since I lost some there. And I'm going to place it on the back. And if you have an air bubble, it's no big deal. You can squish it out to the end since it's so small. And we are going to do the same exact thing to this side. You're going to cut in this direction, smush it together, then cut again in between, then turn it, and you're going to cut that way again, or off-centered, or however you want it, just so that it's not the same exact thing. And in order to save time on this video, I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera and I'll be back. All right, I have finished both sides now, and this is what it looks like. You want to bring it back up to a 1/2 inch thickness or so, because we want to get about 4 or 5 slices out of this. And I created all the orange and pink and yellow that you saw with a size this big. So a little bit goes a long way because we are going to turn this into a veneer. So pushing down, you can do with your hand or you can do with a roller. And let's see, we're at about a 1/2 inch. I'm just going to make it a little bit taller. And I want to get that middle divot out of there. So I'm just going to roll it a little bit to try and flatten it in the middle. All right. We have our piece now. You're going to want to let this rest for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera and make my other color plug with the wisteria, the turquoise, and the periwinkle. And I will be back. Okay, we are back and I have made my other plug with the other colors and that's off to the side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to slice this. And it has sat for a while and I even put it in the fridge for a little while to speed that process up. I like to make fairly thin slices, but not super thin, because what we're going to do is we are going to turn these slices into veneers and we are going to make them larger. So I want to be kind of generous on my slices, but not too thick. Oh, that's cool. So that's the first slice. And just go ahead and put that off to the side. And now I'm going to make another slice. And you see it's not totally even, and that's fine. That's pretty cool too. So now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to make this one just a little bit thinner to get more of that black in the middle. And now I'm going to cut this one in half and do it without cutting my fingers. And that's cool too. So you kind of want to look at this and you're going to determine what side you're going to use. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these pieces and run them through the pasta machine. And then after that, we're going to place them on a black background of clay. And depending on what cutters you're using, you may want to run them through the pasta machine again for a larger cutter, or run them, or just leave them as is and cut them on the black background. So we'll do that both ways. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run these through. And I like to, this is the outside, we're not going to use that. I like to start on a 2 and then take it down to a 3, all the time rotating or seeing where I want it to expand a bit. So I'll show you how I do that. First, I'm going to do it on a 2. And there's really not much of a difference. So now I'm going to take it to a 3. And there's still not much of a difference. I'm going to take it to a 4. And I'm going to rotate it in this direction. So I'll be putting it that way through the pasta machine. And there's a 4, and that's not much of a difference. Now we're going to go to a 5. And it's getting a little bigger. And now I'm going to take it and put it through this way on a 6. And that's looking pretty cool. We're going to go one more on a 7, and I'm going to do it this direction. All right, so you see, taking it from a 2 and gradually bringing it down to a 7 got me this size. And that is about 2 1/4 inches. No, 1 3/4 inch that way, and 1 1/2 that way. So if you're going to use a smaller cutter, that's fine. But I'm probably not going to use a cutter that small, so I'm going to put this on black and run it through the machine again. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and run these through off camera, and then I'll be back to show you how to make this even bigger. So I'm back with my pieces rolled out, and some of them are pretty good size, and I may stick with that, but I still want to make them just a little bit bigger for like the pendants, and if I want to get a couple pairs of earrings out of them, or just one set of earrings. So what I've done is I've taken some black polymer clay and I rolled it out to a number 4 on my pasta machine, and I am going to place the veneer onto the black clay. And I'll take the smaller ones first. And we can probably fit this over here. Well, we'll wait on that. And now I am going to cut this. Because now we are going to run this through the pasta machine. Oops, didn't even have it on camera. I placed it onto the black clay and then I cut the excess clay off. So now I'm going to lift this up. And now, because I ran the black clay on a 4, I'm going to run this in whatever direction I feel like doing it through the pasta machine on a 4, and we'll see what happens. All right, this is what it looks like on a 4. I am going to go to a 5 now. So I'll change the setting on my machine to a 5. And I am going to run it through this way now. And I think I'm really liking that effect in the middle, so I'm going to stop. We'll put that here, and now we're going to go ahead and take this one. And remember to change your number to a 4 since we rolled this black part out on a 4. So I'm going to put it back to a 4 and run it through once. And that's what it looks like. And now I'm going to turn it, take it to a 5, run it through again. And that's what it looks like, which is pretty cool. I think that this will be big enough for a large pendant, even a circle pendant. So I'm going to leave that as is. Now I'm going to go ahead and take these others, do the same process as I did with these, and we'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and these are our pieces rolled out onto the black clay. Now, this is a good thickness for me because I like to resin the sides, the back, and the front of my pieces, so I dome them, which will make them thicker. But if you're planning on not using resin, my suggestion is that you roll out another thickness of black or whatever color you want to use for the backing. And then you will place this over it and then cut your piece. But I'm not going to do that. Like I said, this is a very good thickness for me, so I'm going to leave that alone. So your next step is to figure out what cutter is going to work best for what veneer you have. And I've kind of already decided what cutter I'm going to use on what piece. So I'm going to start with this one and make sure it's flat on my tile. And to try and be able to use one tile, I like to try and cut it where I want it on the tile. So I'm thinking this pylon color cutter is going to look really cool with that design in the middle. And I want to keep some of that pink in there because I really like that hot pink. So, you just sit there and determine, what cut you think is going to be the best. And I think I like it right there. So I'm going to put this down and go ahead and make my cut. And you can save this because you can make really cool beads, or if you have smaller cutters, you can use what's left of it. So I like to always put that off to the side and save it. And this is what I have from the pylon. Now what I like to do is I like to clean up my edges after I bake. It's just so much easier and you're not distorting your piece. So I'm just checking to make sure that all the edges are down on the tile. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out my other pieces. And this one I think I'll put here. And we're going to use the circle cutter on that. And remember, this area is going to be cut out here, so you want to take that into account. You know, I don't want to cut out all that black. I'd like to leave it, but I don't want all that yellow. So maybe I'll turn it. Because I would like some orange in it too. Okay, I think that looks cool. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Pull up the excess. Put that off to the side, and you are going to want to take this middle part out. And let's see, the next one we'll put here. And I don't want so much yellow in this one, but I do want orange to be in it. And I would like to preserve some of the black. So you know, this step might take a little time. I think I'm going to go over here, and I can preserve that black and not have a lot of yellow. Go ahead and make my cut. And again, we're going to need to take this middle part out. Just lift that out. And you can do all your cleanup after bake. So our next one, I'm going to try and get a pair of earrings to go with that pylon over there. So I'm going to bring this here, and I kind of want that black to be in the middle, like that. So cut that. And cut another one. I guess right here. Okay, so now we have a pair of those. And now the last one, I would like to do a pair of the diamond to go with that one. And I could use the other cutter that matches that, but oh, let's be a little different. I like to be a little different. All right. So, I think we'll go there. And we kind of want it to be symmetric. So I'll go there. But I also want to make sure that I'm not going to be cutting into that other one up there, so we'll cut it right there. Whoop. Well, kind of messed that one up, didn't I? I guess we can't always be perfect, but we can fix it. Go ahead and pull this up. And we can just smooth that out. And you won't really see it because you've got the black in there anyway. But you don't want to leave a crack in your clay because it will compromise your piece even when baked. So you do kind of want to fix that. All right, now I'm going to pull these centers out. Without botching it, which I just did. But that's okay. It's got black in it. You'll never even know. Just want to smooth this area out just a little bit more. And that can always be sanded or scrapped. We'll see what it looks like and how it holds up after bake. All right, making sure all my edges are down. And that looks good. I am going to go ahead and bake these at 275 for 1 hour. And I'm going to go ahead and put the blue ones in the same with these and bake those at the same time, 275 for 1 hour, and then I'll be back. All right, these are the finished pieces out of the oven and fully cooled. And I'm just going to show you on one of them how I clean up the edges after bake. It is so simple and so easy, and you don't distort your pieces. You just take your piece off the tile. I just use a nail file. You can get these at the dollar store. And lightly hit the edges. And the little bit of excess that is there comes right off. And on these pylons, I like to dull the sharp points just a little. We don't want to make them deadly when we resin them. So I just do that a little bit just to take that sharp off. And that is that easy. The next step I would do with these is to go ahead and resin them, and I think I'll do a couple of both of them, and I will be back to show you the finished product and to end this video. So I'll be back in a minute. And here are the finished pieces. They really came out cool, and I'm really excited about them. Here's a whole tray still that I need to finish off and resin. But you will find when you create these that you will be addicted to them, I guarantee. And another really cool thing, shine a black light on them, and it's a really cool effect. So like rave parties or whatever, they glow under a black light, which is really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it inspired you and you found it helpful. And if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and leave a nice comment. Until next time, I am going to show you what happens when you make a veneer that you don't like and how to turn it into something beautiful that you do like. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.